what do beginning or middle or late beginning students, middle school students, work on? As kids playing everything. Bump, 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 lean on me, everything they'd heard on the radio, school athletic songs, things that they wanted to sing. And it was a wonderful chaos of what you hear kids warming up with. Then the director came in and tapped the baton and went, all right, here we go. And they went, eh, eh, and Bobby looked at me and says, why would any kid want to do this? Like, why would they want to do this when they could do that? And, I've always thought about that. Yeah, we all, before there were other distractions like media and social media, we all understood that playing scales and doing those kind of tedious, pedantic exercises was an important fundamental in music. And indeed, it is. We write music based on scales and things. So you can't really avoid it. But I thought, I'm going to write a piece of music that's kind of cool, but it's based on a scale. So it's based on a C harmonic scale or a B flat harmonic scale. So it's a scale they have to learn anyway. But I said, I'm going to make it kind of cool. And I have to credit my colleague here in New Haven, Patrick Smith, who runs the co-op high school band. With this idea. He has his students for a half an hour every day. Now it's the cooperative school for arts and sciences, so they have a little more arts time, but they do scales every day. But the way he teaches it is his percussion section makes up a backbeat. And the people who are just learning, the freshmen or the first year people in the high school, do it this speed. Ba, 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 and the people who go a little faster do go bum, 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 and the experts go bubba dubba, and they do it all at the same time. And it's this wonderful kind of minimalist, and this is how my piece begins. And they're red, white, and blue. Those are the three skill levels. The red people have ba, 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 and then the middle line, and all the players see all three parts. So if you're a beginning player and you can play the red part, after a couple of weeks you may want to move up to the white part. And the white, so it's ba, ba. The white part is ba, 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 and then the blue part is ba, 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 all with an interesting backbeat. So Pat's little differentiated scale exercise became the basis of my piece. So that's how it is. And there's a little melody with kind of an interesting backbeat. And I knew I had these students. And I love to write music with a hook. I knew I had them when I watched the percussion player saying, oh, we're doing Scalin and Wailin. And they did the cool move, like, let's do it. And so they wanted to play it. And most of them had it by heart because and then the other kids admitted, I said, hey, do any of you kids walk around school singing this? And they were like, yes. Like, of all the stuff in your folder, you're singing my piece, right? Doom, boom, 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 and they're like, yes. So I got them. I wrote hooky kind of stuff. So that's the idea, and I'm pleased to say that their school came and played with the Yale band, and I had people in the Yale band playing red, white, and blue, all the parts. And I also had Dan's band, and Dan conducted the premiere. There's no magic in here. I want to show everybody it can be done. Well, Dan's a good conductor, but it can be done by public school teachers doing the whole thing, and no one can say, oh yeah, well it was the Yale. No, so what? And he had them play their parts alone first, and they did it. It was completely sustainable. And the other trick is that, so one, they're learning a scale. Two, they're learning a scale can be kind of cool. Three, they're learning a scale at differentiated levels of challenge that allow them to be able to do it, even if they're beginners. Three, I've already done 1, 2, and 3. The other thing is they can play this piece with other people. And hopefully when they get to high school, if you are in that kind of program where the high school goes and plays for the middle school to keep kids interested in band, don't go play for them, go play with them, because they could join you and find that was really pretty cool. If everybody in the group plays one level, it's a viable piece. If everybody plays the red level, the easiest level, it's a viable piece. It sounds like an interesting, simple kind of rhythmic piece, maybe etude level, but you could play this piece, bum, bum, very simple. You could play every one of the levels alone, and it would be a viable piece. So it's not just a situation where the difficult level has easier versions of it for the lower. They have their own kind of independent parts that makes it distinguishable when they're playing with somebody playing a higher level. And Dan reported that there were several, if not many, kids in his group who went up a level in the course of the 2 weeks that they had the piece. They started, I think they all started at red, and then by the time they got to me, some were playing blue, many were playing white. But they all wanted to go up a level, and they all felt, so it wasn't that they were shamed to play the lower level, but they were excited to learn the higher level. So it's not like passing out a grade 1 piece and having saying, I've set the skill level here at the lowest common denominator. It's like saying, everybody's got a part to play. And in fact, the best performance of the piece is somebody has to play the lowest level. If you don't, I mean, you could play all the blue stuff, but somebody, if my Yale band played it, I would have them all play every part. So it's not about the athleticism of the degree of difficulty of music. It's about everybody doing their share and finding a level of technique with it where they can make their contribution. I would make sure that everybody played the lowest level part, the entry level part, that was the goal for the day. And if possible, I would make sure the percussion had their click track ready to go whenever any musicians played. Because theirs isn't particularly hard, you know, and it's very ostinato. Once they get the rhythm, they can repeat it over and over again. So it's a quick learn, and it's fun for the audience. You know, there's all kinds of music that people pass out. I mean, you asked me about how to teach this, and maybe the teaching actually begins when you decide how to program this. So you want students to be able to play music that they can play. And you'd probably like it to be a bit of a challenge. You don't want to schedule everything that they can play right away, or maybe you do if you're going to do 8 or 9 pieces on a program. But things happen. You know, you want to be able to coach it correctly over a set period of time. But my piece, I think, can be played quickly, particularly because if everybody can play the white level, it's viable. And it sounds more complicated. You know, if a teacher wants to get this ready, and they over program it, you know, it's harder than they just do the middle level. You know, so there's a lot of flexibility built into this. So I think teachers, how to teach it, when you start programming your concert, here's a piece that's a scale. You can also, by the way, use my rhythm track at the beginning on any scale you want your students to learn. The extrapolation of this is I use a C melodic minor scale. You can say, now we're going to do an F scale today. And it's got the same rhythmic pattern. Boo ba doo ba doo ba doo ba doo ba doo ba boo ba boo. And then the experts, I mean, they can do 30-second notes. Background, you can make this work on any major scale. So suddenly the warm up and the scale part of this becomes fun. And then what my colleague Patrick does is he says to his percussion section, I'll give you 5 minutes, make up a different beat. And they come back with something, you know, and the kids have to do their scales over it. So the first thing I would suggest, get the percussion section to have the rhythm track ready to go. Practice the beginning on the white level, which is the scales, and then see if you can play the whole piece on the white level, and then see what people want to move up. And then maybe make those assignments based on what you know of people's starting level, and then give them the option to either audition for you or choose to work to the next level, however you want to set that up, depends on the dynamic of your classroom. And then you own that piece for the rest of your life, and you've got that rhythm track, and you've got the idea of how to teach scales. And but you know, this is to get students through that terrible time of life when they want to go outside and they want to play. I mean, some of them get hooked on the instruments and they live in a room to do that. But you know, the pedantic part where we've got to learn our scales and stuff, it gets them to beyond that till they aren't afraid of it. And in fact, that exercise isn't boring or frustrating or silly. It has an artistic component because you're going to put it with something that makes it a duet, or you're going to put some energy into a scale that you might not think was worth before. This piece is made to be flexible in that people can move from one part to another. They can even do 2 measures and then go to the easier part of something. So I mean, they can put a quilt together that works. So I want my music to be flexible. I want teachers to take it and make it work for their class and for their environment. They don't have to write and get copyright permission from the composer or the publisher to change something. Make it work for your school.